Welcome to Mishna study. We're going to embark on Masechet Peah with Perush Rambam, of course. Masechet Peah primarily speaks about gifts, things that we need to give to the poor people, to the aniyim. It opens up with the first four parakim speak about Peah, which is literally the corner of the field that we need to set aside for the ani, for the poor person. The Masechet then moves into other laws. We'll focus on the next perek, leket, right? If you drop stalks in the field, you have to leave those, for the poor person, or shikha, if you forget a bundle in the field, you need to leave that for the poor person to take. Then we'll move on to laws in the vineyard, right? If you forget a few grapes in the vine, you have to leave those for the poor person. And then general laws of Hilchot Tzedakah, right? Harambam actually, when he coins a lot of these halachot, he brings them down in the Mishneh Torah. The sefer that he brings it down in is actually Hilchot Matanot Anim, right? Literally gifts to the poor people. That's where he brings all these laws. Before we start the Masechet, I just want to point out a few Pesukim that this Masechet builds off of. One in Sefer Vayikra, the other one in Sefer Devarim. Firstly, in Perek Yutet of Vayikra, right? When you're cutting your field, right, you're not allowed to destroy the entire corner of the field, nor when you're gathering your stalks, you're not allowed to gather them all, right? If you forget something, you have to leave it there. Similarly, in the vineyard, you have to leave them for the poor person and for the foreigner amongst you. And then in Devarim, in Perek Kafdalet, right? If you forget a bundle in the field, you can't return to take it. You have to leave it for the foreigner, for the yatom and the almana. So we see over here those laws of pe'ah, shikha, leket, those are the pesukim. Now we're going to jump into the first Mishnah of our Masechet. Elu devarim she'en lahem shi'ur, right? These are the things that there are no limit to. HaPe'ah ve'abikurim ve'hare'ayon u'gmilut hasadim ve'talmud Torah. Right? These are things that you eat from the fruits in this world, and you still have the principle, the reward for you in Olam Haba. So Rambam goes on to explain. Firstly, he points out these are the things that have no shiur. There is no limit to these mitzvot. What are they? Pe'ah. You're allowed to leave anything you want at the corner of the field. There is no minimum amount of space, of land that you need to leave for the aniyim. Rambam points out this is midoraita, right? From the Torah, there is no specific amount. Midrabanan, as we'll see in the next Mishnah, there is a shiur, right? 1/60th. That's what you have to leave from your field. But over here, we're talking about midoraita. Bikurim, when you bring your first fruits up to Jerusalem, there is no set amount of fruits you have to bring up to Jerusalem. Ayon, when you come and appear in front of God, right? This is talking about 3 times a year, right? Right? And you have to come. You're not allowed to be seen empty-handed. What does that mean? We need to come with korbanot. When we come 3 times a year, Aliyah Regel to Jerusalem, we need to come with korbanot in our hand. How many korbanot do we need to bring? There is no shiur. Now, Hanabam just points out separately over here that there are other things, right, outside of everything we mentioned over here, that there is no minimum shiur to, right? Some of the examples he brings, afar sota, when you put dirt in the mes sota waters, right? Orok yevama, when the yevama spits in front of the husband that she doesn't want to marry. The efer para, right? When it comes to the literally the ash that you need of the paraduma, they need to put in the water. How much ash? There is no shiur. Dam tzipora mitzora, right? All these things, there is no set amount. How come it's not mentioned in our Mishnah? So Rambam points out that the difference is that there is no actual reward. There's no actual, more of a reward if the girl goes ahead and, the Yevama, spits a larger amount of spit, right? There's no extra tosefet sachar. Whereas over here, Gimlut Hasadim, Pe'ah, leaving more food for the ani, over there's an extra reward. And that's why our Mishnah is mentioning these that are mentioned in our Mishnah. Now, the fourth thing mentioned, Gimilut Hasadim. Rambam over here goes to explain that there's 2 types of chesed, Gimilut Hasadim. Firstly is the one that you perform with your money. And the second one, right, you're giving tzedakah or you're redeeming captives, right? Gilad Shalit, everyone has an obligation to, pay whatever it is to redeem a captive. The second one is physically. A person needs to physically, with his goof, with his body, perform chesed, such as nichom avidim, going to visit someone who's sitting avid, who's mourning, or lavot tametim, right, to help, walk, after the coffin, a person to his grave, or to go to a wedding, right? All these are things that a person, chesed, that a person performs with his body. So now Rambam just points out, when we say now Mishnah that Gemilut Hasadim has no shiur, and over here we're already shifting to a maximum limit, right? There is no max. We're talking about mitzvot of Gemilut Hasadim that a person performs with his body, right? As opposed to tzedakah with his money. Why is that? Because there is a max when it comes to tzedakah, right? The max is 20%. Right, 1/5 of his money. And Rambam goes out to point over here something very interesting, and that is if a person approaches someone, Ani approaches someone and says, I need something, a person is obligated to take 20% of what he has, seemingly his net worth, and help that Ani come out of poverty. That's what that person's obligation is, at that time. But if a person is not approached, right, he doesn't have shivuim, he doesn't have captives to take care of, or the aniyim aren't approaching him. So then he needs to separate 20% of his income and set it aside for other mitzvot to take care of. Right, that's the max. In the halacha, he speaks about the average is a 10%. That's a benoni. But if a person wants to do midat hasidut, that would be 20% of his income. And then lastly, Talmud Torah, right? Talmud Torah also there is no shiur for. Then we move on to the second statement of our Mishnah, and that is these are the things that a person eats from these fruits in Olam Hazeh, and he still has the principle left for him in Olam Haba. And over here, Rambam also points out that there's two types of mitzvot. There are mitzvot ben adam l'makom and ben adam l'chavero. A mitzvah that a person performs between him and God, and then a mitzvah that a person performs between him and fellow man. So mitzvah that between man and God, tzitzit, tefillin, Shabbat, or he doesn't perform avodah zarah, he'll be rewarded for those in Olam Haba. But when it comes to mitzvot ben adam l'chavero, there's an extra benefit, and that is when a person loves his friend and he helps his friend out. All those things, even though he's getting reward in Olam Haba, he's still going to have a natural benefit from them in this world, right? And that's because when a person's helping one another, people will want to help him as well. It's a very interesting concept and, important to, focus on. So those are the things that, that your person gets in Olam, this world and next world, kibud avayim, right? That's ben adam l'chavero. All these are ben adam l'chavero. Gimilut hasadim, taking chesed one friend and bringing peace between man and his fellow friend. And Talmud Torah keneged kulam. Talmud Torah is parallel, is equal to all of them. And over here, Rambam quotes a famous statement when someone approached Hillel Zaken and said, teach me all the Torah on one foot. And Hillel responded to him, right? What's bad for you, don't do to your friend. Right? And Rambam says, when you look at this statement, you'll see that through Talmud Torah, right, a person could come to all of these, right? So through the Talmud Torah, right, through focusing, through learning, he will be able to perform all of these mitzvot. And when you look at the statement of Hillel, that's what you'll understand an intention of why the Talmud brought down that story. So that wraps up the first Mishnah. Next Mishnah, we'll see the actual shiur of Peah.